Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lightbringers podcast. I hope you are doing well and you're not a fan of sea otters, because I just found out something very, very awful about them and you should not like them anymore. Nature versus nurture. What happened there? Who knows? But anyway, that is the best intro I've done to the Lightbringers podcast thus far. With the music completion as well. It was very good.
Great timing.
Everything is fine, don't worry. So, Clifford's rejoined us from the fray.
I have.
You have indeed.
Oh.
Welcome back.
I was gone last time. Yes, this is true.
That's it. No reason why. Just Cliff left. Came back. Is back now.
Yeah, I returned. I went on a perilous quest. I found this really great staff. Unfortunately, I was underleveled to use it, but you know what? I sold it for a pretty penny.
That sounds good. Advantageous, absolutely. We also have Fauna Eggs back with us.
Forums.
The forceps. Today
I'm okay.
You are okay? You are?
I'm still slightly traumatized from all the sea otter talk, but yeah, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
It's fairly traumatic.
Yeah.
It's true.
It takes the body time for this trauma to heal. Yeah.
That's right. So, we have a podcast today that we're going to be doing. Fornax is here, so is Kroof. We're going to be talking about the latest story from Janthir Wilds. Well, the latest and the final. The finale. Finale?
Yeah.
Finale. There you go. I like the way Kroof said it. Much better.
Finale.
Finale. And happy Pride Month, indeed. Hello, everyone in chat. I hope you're good.
It is the month.
If you're watching live as well and it's not Pride Month, you can still say happy Pride. It's fine, I guess. And also, we are live Twitch Sunday on 12 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. BST, so British time. So if you do want to watch us on a Sunday, we may be here. I do announce it on YouTube, Facebook, and Blue Sky. So if you're following me there, you will get the announcements and all the things. Otherwise, this will be on the Spotify's and all the other things that you can listen to us on. Just search Lightbringers GW2 podcast, and we will be there. There will be spoilers.
Oh yeah. This one's going to be spoiler heavy.
Yes, as there will be some little video in the background as well. So if you are not wanting to watch this because you haven't played the update yet, don't watch this. But if you don't care, then that's fine.
Yeah.
We have thoughts, that's for sure.
I unfortunately have none.
Just generally no thoughts ever.
Yeah, I'm trying to turn over a new leaf where I just don't generate any thoughts. I let Akinator do that for me.
I mean, that's fair, I guess.
This is the way ahead. This is the way.
Nowadays,
yeah, we have
it's hard to
AI.
have thoughts.
Might as well
True.
utilize it.
I've been watching a Yeti do AI. Yeah,
What?
an AI. Yeah.
Oh.
It's like
I'm not sure about the link between Yeti and AI yet. We're getting to it, I guess.
I was like, a Yeti microphone? And then I was like, oh, a Yeti, probably like an AI.
I'm not sure they exist for
video
generated. Yeah, and it's like he's in the forest and he's got his little webcam and that he's talking.
You get the daily vlogs too?
Oh, it's crazy.
With the vlog content?
Yeah.
I get that from like, the Yetis, the Bigfoots, Stormtroopers.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the Stormtrooper video.
It's been a weird week.
Jesus Christ, that's so funny.
Yeah. I think that's hitting everyone's algorithm like kind of around the same time, which is really interesting.
And this is when you start rooting for things like the coronavirus, you know. And
No! Fornax, oh my god!
One X was like, I'm ready.
We've gone dark all of a sudden again.
I'm
Oh,
really
Jesus.
Jesus picky now. This is just too much. Yeah.
The way the world is going, you know.
I mean, why not? mean,
I
why
love
not?
a little bit of rough and tumble worldly stuff, so I'm down to clown.
Rough and tumble worldly stuff, down to clown and COVID, all in the same sentence. I love it. So, we had a new update, which was, was it last Tuesday?
It
No,
was
the one before.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah. Okay, so we've been giving it a little tiny bit of time. That's nice.
Yeah.
Absolution. And we got new map, we got new story, we got a load of other stuff, but we're just going to be talking about the story today pretty much. The new map. Wait, did we get a new map? Yes, we did. What is it called? Bavanesis. Yeah, oh my god. Jesus Christ. My brain today, by the way, everyone. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm also having
no.
a weird day.
I didn't do the cameras for this scene. Whoops. Gonna be fine. Quick. But should I tell you what we didn't get this time? We didn't get a mail. Did we?
We didn't, did we?
We didn't. Where's my shot?
I think they listened.
We didn't
Your
get
impact.
No mail.
I'm
no
serious though. I
Wait,
said
how did it
this.
start?
It was a audio thing, I think. I'm about to actually find out because I can't remember. Because I played it like 2 weeks ago.
I played the story ones like 2 weeks ago, and it's already kind of been slipping out of my memory.
Yeah, I'm gonna play just to see what did actually happen because I can't remember completely. Oh wait.
You're searching for things?
It was an instance, but where was I first? I got distracted.
Oh yeah, I think we just like go to the instance.
I think so.
Which I kind of like.
Yeah, that was it. No, there must have been something else which popped up. It must have been. Maybe there wasn't. Okay, fine. I can't remember.
I can check the wiki.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that. It's not on my video. It's not on my video. What the hell? Did I just log in and like not go anywhere? Because I was at the place because we just saw Belinda die.
Yeah, I think it's just an instance. I don't think they prime you with anything. They just ask you to go to the gate.
Oh, here we go.
Which I like, it feels a little more, organic, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did play this chapter. Come on, Jebri. Click the button.
You've got it. You can do it.
You're so close.
What are you doing? Oh no, because I was worried it wouldn't continue from. Stop it! Press the button. There you go. Okay.
Rolling.
It.
Okay.
Jesus Christ, there is so much, and like I'm showing the video on stream. If you're listening to this audio, but that's why. Oh, there you go. It says meet your allies outside the sealed gate leading to Bavanesis or whatever the fuck. Oh yeah, and then you get some audio. Yes, you do get some audio.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
It's kind of send me right half a little bit. Yeah, this
also,
was...
I think
Go on.
It's a niece, isn't it? So it's not vocalized,
Mm-hmm.
which threw me. But yeah, that threw me myself. But totally support not having AI voices. So or pay people for their AI voice properly. Pick one, but total support. So yeah.
That's still because of the Picket stuff, or
yeah, which I think actually has just ended like the past few days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think SAG came to a conclusion and the strike is over.
I wonder if they're gonna actually go in and do the audio. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, they will.
Hopefully.
I'll go back
and that's for sure.
Yeah.
You get some dialogue that Olivia stole the scepter. Yes. That's right. Thank you. That's right. Yes. I think so. Anyway. So we go to the portal and we do find that out. Yeah, a bit of a bugger, but also I thought that was quite cool. I was like, oh, they stole the Scepter of Ore and something bad's gonna happen. Like, surely. Something terrible and evil, mischievous, dark, twisted. It didn't really. I mean, I guess we don't know yet. Sorry, yeah. Anticlimactic. If he came for spoilers, that wasn't a great one.
There's so many thoughts around this, like, execution of story. First and foremost, just because what is being shown on stream right now for audio only listeners, we're also showing snippets of the actual story missions. I was very surprised and extremely pleased to see that they were doing in-game cutscenes. We've been playing a lot of Guild Wars 1 recently because of the anniversaries, and so this feels very reminiscent to like classic Guild Wars story moments where they just have a little cutscene to establish like the characters. They have like shots, so you can really get close-ups on like Lagavo, the Scepter of Ore, and all that. So I really loved the utilization of cutscenes, particularly for a finale. But in terms of story beats, the Scepter of Ore was like the Chekhov's gun because it was hinted at the very first instance of this expansion last year. And we just never heard anything about it. And I don't really get the impression that we had a lot of interactions with Livia throughout this story either. So I will say when this starts, it is a little jarring. I think it would have been nice if Livia had popped up in terms of conversation and maybe in game like the previous patch, just to establish her as a character and maybe like building it up more organically rather than just like, oh, Livia is here and stole it, and I guess we're using it now. It felt a little quick.
Yeah.
True. I mean, I couldn't agree more. So I love Livia as a character. I like the fact that she is a royal old lady, royal pain in the ass. I really do. And I think she's one of the better characters that came out of that whole kind of White Mantle story arc. She's really interesting. She's a throwover. If you don't know from the previous franchise, she's that old because of the Scepter of Ore, and it will be interesting to see what happens to her character with the consequences of this episode. But I really would have liked to have seen that character progression, because we saw her right at the start of Janthir Wilds, and when we were heading out, and we realized that we had a Titan problem, and she's like, look, we have this scepter, we can do this thing. And it was very much a case of, as Cruz said, it's like Chekhov's gun. This scepter is going to come into play at some point during the story, and I would have liked to have seen her on the ground with us, interacting, and her frustration building and her irritation at us dealing with this building, so that we have that kind of like emotional payoff where she's like, look, this is ridiculous, we have to find out what's happening, and she just snaps, and then she's, like, we're like, oh, shit's going down now. I think that would have been better personally, but they didn't give us that build up, and I'm kind of sad. I
think you hit the nail on the head with like the key term, I think, being frustration. Because I think in this instance, Livia is talking about how like she's like, well, you guys weren't getting anything done, but we don't release, and there's no voice. So in terms of like the execution of that sentiment, it kind of falls flat, at least right now. But yeah, I think because we never got to see her, we don't know how frustrated she actually is. I think that was the biggest thing.
Her anger doesn't seem earned. Her kind of like explosive, I'm doing this is ridiculous, we're just getting this shit done. It doesn't seem earned because she hasn't been with us feeling the frustrations and the battles and that kind of thing. I think it would have been better if she was with us.
Yeah, I agree. I think at this point in the story, she might have actually been more impactful if she replaced a character like Waiting Sorrow. I think Livia would have had more to do. And, we still have the Heart of the Obscure, but Waiting Sorrow isn't giving us much information about that either. So I think it would have been a better utilization of screen time if Livia was a part of the last two patches.
I mean, she could have easily replaced Anise. She could have,
or that too,
because Anise doesn't. Yeah, because Anise, as much as I love the character of Anise, and I have enjoyed her character greatly, and I would welcome more stories with that sassy spy. She's great, especially with her interactions with Kanak, who is like top tier, S tier character. She didn't really feel that impactful. All her interactions in this kind of in the kind of the bridging content or the prologue has been her irritation at Livia, and you could have just had Livia there and us being annoyed with her. You didn't need kind of like that filter. We could have she could have just really been annoying with us there. So.
And the commander would be like, well, Livia, we're part of the alliance and we all made an agreement. And the very end, when we get to the gate, she's like, now we really have no place. And then she's like, okay, fine, I'll go and sneakily steal the scepter. And then we're like, Livia, what did you do? And that would make a little more sense, I think.
Or like a proper stand-up row between Olivia and Anise with a proper slap or something. Just
ooh, if that was a part of the cutscene, ooh, that would have been really good.
Yeah, spicy.
She just went and used it without anyone, like, just the fact that she just went and used this thing, she just, and on the portal was like, oh damn, okay. I actually didn't mind this bit. Who is it that says what's happening? One of the like we go up to the portal and using the scepter of ore, and who is it? It's Pokey, isn't it? I think. And like everyone was like, oh my god, don't use the scepter of ore, etc., etc. And then they're just like, what's happening?
He's like, this is all new to me. I'm not a part of a culture that likes magic, so
I don't even know if they know much about that and what's going on. Actually, that's a good point. Maybe that way of disconnection there, but I just thought it was funny. And then there was that. Should I tell you what I have? I saw a reel on Instagram. And it was talking about these bright white flashes between after something big happens in a story in a game, and how annoying it is, and how blinding it is, because it's for effect, right? It's like a shock piece, like it's a classic kind of transition rather than like, you know. Sorry?
It's like a visual
flash transition.
Yeah. And I was like, oh god damn, yeah, that really is like, it's just funny that has popped up, and it just bit of information came up to me, like how harsh it is on people's eyes, and it's like, oh yeah, a thing happened, but the portal just changed color. Well, obviously, I mean, it's a little bit more than that in the game. But she's gone. She's disappeared. The orb, thingy scepter of ore's gone. She's gone, and they're like, okay, I guess we're just going in now. And they talk a little bit about how, she's kind of effed. Like, she's gone, and it's just like, well, let's just go in anyway. See what's happening. It's like, okay. Oh, dear.
It's kind of, I expected Isgaran to be more encouraging of this, because he wanted to just throw down with the scepter right at the beginning. He just wanted to deal with it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, yeah.
Forgot about that, actually.
Wait, so why did he? Well, I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Maybe because it wasn't him who grabbed it. That would have been an interesting confrontation.
He's feeling butthurt. He's like, I wanted to be the one to do it.
Because normally he's the troublesome one.
Yeah, he needs to learn to relax his anus. Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh no! We created a monster. It's so funny though.
We go through that
Had
portal.
To be here earlier. Sorry.
Oh yeah, insider jokes only. We get to the portal and we see another cutscene, and I was like, at this point, I was really expecting some fantastic quality storytelling for this patch. Because I was like, 2 cutscenes back to back. I was like, damn, they're doing their big one, and so I thought this was nice. I thought it was a great setup shot to show the geography, and upon reflection, it's also a way to symbolize the entity that is the city. as we get to learn that Bava Nisos is the city is like overtaken and is the Titan. So this mouthpiece is pretty cool, but I think that was all it kind of was. It was just like a nice.
I didn't get that at the beginning at all. Like I didn't even notice the teeth. I didn't. I was like, what? I was just like, this is a cutscene. That's cool.
But I initially thought it was gonna it was more just symbolic. It ends up becoming quite literal.
Yeah. Pretty cool. It's just like, I'm just like, okay, now I missed that. Wow. I was just looking at the cutscene. I don't think I was looking at anything else. I was just listening. I was like, I can't do more than one thing at a time, and that's okay. And then we kind of just end up fighting a bunch of these, what they called lucid things.
Macrophages.
Oh, that word. That's better. I didn't mind the fighting. There was a lot of fighting.
There was a lot of fighting, yeah.
A phage is a type of it's a virus eater in real life.
Okay.
So this is like the immune system of the Titan. Really, I think that's what it's meant to kind of symbolize.
Oh yeah, sorry, I read the name of the wrong thing.
I think they talk about that.
Oh, I didn't even connect that either. Nice. That's cool.
This has been, in terms of timing, very cool for me because I've been watching the anime Cells at Work, which is an anime about a human's cellular process. So you have like red blood cells, white blood cells, and they get into all like the macrophages and T cells and all that. So it's really cool. And I was like, oh, macrophages.
Awesome.
And they went with this storyline, which I guess is cool. I'll tip my hat from like a writer's perspective of because we are inside the Titan. They really wanted to emphasize like, hey, these aren't just enemies. These are like the immune response because we are invaders. So I was like kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. I just didn't think about that. I was fighting. I was just like, there's these things, I'm gonna kill them.
Baseball.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, I love that. Wow, Daniel, listen, play the game. Pay attention.
Active listening, ears on.
I mean, active listening is something I do literally for my job. And I'm like, maybe I'm just, when it comes to games, I'm just like piecing out hard.
Oh, you also don't have to like fight hordes on hordes of enemies. So like, there's a lot going on. True.
Damn, there was a lot of enemies. That is for sure. I might have to go turn my AC on. This game warm in here. Okay, so
it's getting hot.
It is why. I don't mind heat, it's fine. I'm just falling a little bit through that. So then, oh yeah, we find out there's a white mental encampment here.
We're getting into the meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was white mental. Thoughts? White mental? Here they were, are, and is. We just used it as our camp, didn't we? Or did we? I can't remember.
Well, I like the fact that it's the same characters that we have been kind of trailing through the whole of this part of the expansion. We got to see a bit of the conclusion of their kind of love story almost, but it's kind of strange. It's kind of strange how they've done it, and I don't hate it. I like the white mantle. I like the fact that we have these three disparate people kind of venturing into this wild place, following their faith and how it's corrupted them. I think that's interesting. I would have liked to have seen it more with, how can I put it? Like, I don't mind hidden object lore. I think it really can like enhance. But if you're not paying attention to the story, and if you are not reading through all the notes, you are going to be very lost at this point. It's going to be, there's like a few spoken words. There's like a few spoken words to indicate what's happening, but it's super easy to get lost. I was very confused about the kind of Titan taking over and actually like becoming the city. That was kind of wild to me. And I know a lot about Titan lore, and I was very kind of befuddled by the whole thing. So I don't know whether I was just not paying attention that day. But it was quite befuddling. I had to go back through and like read some of the synopsis of the story that they do. So I guess I get a D in my listening comprehension for some of this because
no, I don't
go
think
very well.
I don't think you should give yourself that low of a grade at all. I think that objectively, and I don't often say this, I think I usually am always like taking the silver lining of like storytelling, particularly with Guild Wars 2. But this was the first time for me as a player where I was like, this was badly done in terms of setting up the White Mantle and also setting up the Bavaniso city as the Titan. And when you have an expansion where the main enemy ultimately ends up being the Titans, even though I thought it was going to be like some puppet master behind the scenes, it really is what was presented from the expansion's jump. And I just don't think that they were able to pay off on any of the twists that they were planning on doing, like with the 3 White Mantle characters, Ulrich, Tatiana, and Judge, who we are seeing their journals here in this story instance. And the only other time you would ever know of these characters in the main expansion was if you did optional side story stuff. And even then, it's just in books, which people are not always reading. If you like lore, you will, like I did. I read all of it. So I kind of knew of these names, but they were just never talked about really in the main story until this patch. And you don't really want to like instill faith that players have done all of your optional content to know these names. And then you also have to be like, wait, just in case they didn't, we have to fully establish these characters in this one patch because they are the plot twist. So it was just really badly paced out and done, in my opinion. I think objectively, but because I knew of these characters, I could see where it could have been cool with that plot twist, which I think they reveal a little bit later, but it's somewhat early because they realized, oh, we can't hold on to this too early. We always have to be talking about these 3 characters, these White Mantle, because if we don't, by the time we get to the final instance, it's going to just be so bad. But I
really wish they'd have done so. For example, in season 2, when we were going back into Kaith's memories, we were Kaith. We played her character. We went through it. We felt the story. We helped free the saplings and everything. So I really felt emotive, and it made me dislike Asura, especially the kind of dark side of Asura. Nothing against you, but I know. Oh my god, shots fired. But
you seen my character? That's so cute.
Anyway. He is very cute. He's lovely. He's a very sweet boy. But
he's a good one.
He has magic hair. But I think that it would have been better if we could have played through as those characters, or played through one of those characters and kind of experienced their journey through, like going through, listening, hearing the voices that we hear about tempting them, and they're having conversations. They're thinking it's the White Mantle. They're thinking it's the Unseen Ones, who they still think of as like the saviors of Kryta, and they're not wrong. They did save Kryta. Kryta would have been destroyed along with all the other human kingdoms by the Char as they reclaimed all their lands. But so there's a lot of like, you may hate, the Masat, but they did save the last bastion of humanity on Tyria. But I know this law, I know this stuff, and it's kind of so low key, so hidden, and the only way to get it into people's minds is for it to be in their face and for them to experience it. And I feel like hidden notes and things, I don't think it's enough to kind of pull people along with this kind of story. And you're going to have confused Pikachu faces at the end. It's just, yeah. That could be a possibility. Just like,
confused Pikachu faces.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, that was good. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I know that face.
But
I make that face all the time in life. Generally.
Oh, I think a lot of us do.
Like,
I think a lot of us are sometimes like, huh? But in terms of the actual content on this point in the story of like the very end of the first instance chapter.
Mm-hmm.
I do like what they were setting up. I like how they are able to kind of put character into these journals, particularly Judge's journals. I think that was really the main character that we were focusing on for most of this update was Judge. So it was nice to get their perspective on their journeys. And I think what Fornax was saying in terms of being able to go back and like play through those memories and those moments, that would have been awesome. That would have been really cool. And it would have absolutely keyed us into who these characters are, how they interact with each other, and how they progress through the Mistborn Barrens into Baba Nisos. So, the raw content, I actually was like, this is good. Like, I just wish there was more time with it. And I wish that it was a little bit more meaningful. And yeah, there's a lot of thoughts but we'll get into it as it gets deeper into the Titan stuff.
Sure. This is actually the part of the story where Fornax, you weren't here the last time we talked, but Fornax predicted a thing which came true.
Oh, what did you predict?
I can't remember.
The Mesmer.
You predict a lot. This is true.
Oh,
the Mesmer thing. Mesmer guy.
Oh, the Mesmer Collective. Yeah, we were getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so random, though. Like, how did you do that? Like what? It was so random. Like, because you were talking. What was it that got you to that place of like? Why did we end up talking about that? Like, who you want to see? Maybe I don't remember. Well, there was a leak.
We were reading through the blog, and it said that someone from a high society club
That's right.
in Divinity's Reach, and the only one that I could really think of, it's not this, it's actually more of a secret society, but it was the Mesmer Collective. That was the only one that I could think of.
See, I was thinking like Lord Farron.
Yeah, that's what I said as well.
Before that, but like you were like Mesmer Collective as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I remember them specifically, but I think that I remember something about them. But at the same time, I saw them, I was like, damn, Fornax was right. What the hell? Literally a herald. Like,
so
I mean,
what does Fornax win upon? Did you guys make any bets?
I will come to England and shave your head.
Oh,
wow! Thank you so much.
That seems
wow.
That's an interesting. That's an interesting prize.
Yeah, I think you should stay where you are, to be honest. But that's fine.
I think you should just.
That means you would have had a visitor.
I'm a hermit.
Garden with a tent.
This is true.
That would have been amazing.
No, Lotus tent for you, darling.
Okay.
I was hopeful it would actually be Farron, because I think that I would have welcomed back the dandy for a bit of comic relief. I like him. He's a bit of a, swashbuckling, thigh-slapping idiot, and I quite enjoyed him. I was a bit weirded that we got a Mesmer. I was hoping for Casimir as part of the Mesmer Collective, because we know that she is part of that Mesmer Collective.
Yeah.
Or Jenna, or they could have brought Cream back in.
Bringing Jenna in here in battle.
Yeah, that would be nice to see her. But we got El Tolo Chapio here. I mean, I like the guys.
Is Bang Toverson? The T is silent. He's got the same hair as me, which was very upsetting. Not me, but my character. Like, he's got that whole like hood hair combo thing. You can get off the gem store. And I was like, literally, I'm pretty sure, like, in this moment, I was just like, he's got the same hair as me. That's what? How dare you? Anyway,
has he been in the story before? Do we know him? Is he like? Because I couldn't pick this guy out in a lineup. And honestly, one
of my very good friends, Smudgem, is really big into the lore, and I believe they had pointed out something I didn't know, is that I think Havron's the title of Havron is usually assigned to one person for each of the spirits. And there already is a Havron of Raven, but this person said that they were also a Havron of Raven. Now, on the wiki, a quick read. When Havren is thinking of retiring, I guess, they will train an apprentice. So I think Smudgeon was just, and rightfully so, kind of confused as to why there were two Havruns, with no mention of like the previous one stepping down, or like maybe this is just they didn't think it was even worth it. So yeah, perhaps a slight narrative inconsistency if there actually are two, but hey, Mesmer Collective. I think they should have just focused in on the Mesmer Collective. I think that would have been fine. But interesting Norn lore.
That's
all I really have to say.
Like...
That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I just...
he was okay.
I don't understand why, but why? Like, what does he do? Does he do anything? I don't remember this wonderful, lovely chap doing anything. He didn't have ruin any ravens, as far as I could see. So I don't know, man. It would.
I guess just for a lane character, but they could have used Casimir. They could have. Like Casimir really was like maybe the best substitute here.
Am I missing why they're even here in the first place?
To assist with Olivia.
Okay. Did they need to?
I think ultimately, I mean, I don't, because the story requires them to like establish a foothold inside the city.
Okay, fair. Okay, so there's this thing with that. I guess I was kind of like...
Wait, that is a good question, because why is specifically the Mesmer Collective here?
Yeah.
Because like Ludo isn't a part of the Mesmer Collective. Livia isn't, right? I think maybe they're just trying to tie it back to like Mabon because he's a part of the Mesmer Collective. So they thought it would have been like a nice, you know, an accent to Mabon's character. Like, oh, the Mesmer Collective.
I don't think
Anise is part of the Mesmer Collective.
Anise is, you're right. That is maybe the connection.
They're supporting them?
They might be keeping tabs on Livia.
I was going to say, is it because they're going to like arrest her or something?
That honestly, it might be. I think they mention it in the story, but I think maybe like Anise brought them to keep an eye on Livia and make sure everything's like going okay because Anise maybe trusts them. That's like how I can kind of canon it away.
Canon it away. I love it. Okay.
Okay.
There is a lot.
We have to.
There is a lot.
Sometimes we have to fill in these gaps.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of talking in this, and not that I'm sad because like lore and history, etc., but I felt like I was reading a lot during this, especially at the end, listening to a lot, and I was like, "Whew, this is a lot."
Yeah, but why?
Yeah,
why
I just didn't feel like
I don't know why.
I think it was.
You know, I like the Mesmer Collective. I just wish there was more Mesmery stuff then at this point.
Yeah. Fair.
Or maybe it's a possible hint and connection, and they're bringing them up because of next expansion.
This is sometimes what we think, right?
Which I have strong feelings that it'll have to do with a certain two-faced god.
Oh, really?
Yeah. More on that later, if I remember.
In July, yeah.
Yeah.
In July, we get to find out.
And more of my hypothesizing later, if I remember as well.
So we should do that. We should do, before they do the announcement of the next expansion, we should have a predictions podcast, for sure. But also we need to continue our playthrough of Living Well Season 2, because that's been fun so far. We did a little bit more. We did like half an episode last time, didn't we, Phonics? We did a little bit more.
We did.
Was that when we found Belinda, or was that with Kroof? I think Kroof was there for that. Can't remember.
No. We basically we did one more chapter. We went into Scarlett's house and then blew the shelf open and then went underneath. And I think that's where we ended it because we wanted to talk about the like two massive blogs that had just hit.
Yeah. Belinda had died though.
She got off.
We saw her.
Oh yes. Yes, she was dead.
Yeah, that's where we ended it.
Like... And then we thought it might be fun to have like auto asphyxiating vines on the shop so that you can
wait.
yourself up.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. And then I joined in.
Or,
but let's
like,
make
have
sure
it
that...
as a mount skin.
A mount skin?
Or like the tentacle wriggles. It like wriggles into the ground and you're just like hanging there kind of getting...
It could be one of those toy things, you know, when you walk in and you just one of those things for sure. Yeah.
Or a chair. It could be a chair.
Yeah.
It could be a chair.
And they could call it the David Carradine vine.
So, oh my god.
Nobody knows what I'm talking about.
I don't
Google
know.
it. You should
definitely
Google it. You should definitely Google it. Kill Bill actor died of auto asphyxiation in his. Anyway, sorry.
Oh my god.
Dark history.
I'm okay. I'm with
traumatized. Should we go back to the
Christ. Yeah, this game is a PG game. Like, you can't have that. I mean, I guess at least if you don't explore the reasons. Yeah, that was dark. So let's go. That's not where do you
remember your safe words.
Head deeper into the darkness that is Bavanisos.
Yeah, we have to... What do we have to do? Weaken the defenses.
Just do
a bunch of events again, which is half of the course, I think, right now. I think these are the filler bits and bobs to get you into the map and get you playing the game, and you know, I get it. And the events are alright. Not bad.
I timed this perfectly because when I got to this point in the story, the meta event cycled immediately. So, by doing the complete meta event, it is just enough events to fully complete the requirements for the next story part. So it really flowed very organically for me.
That's cool.
That's nice. I ended up doing the meta itself, and I was still entirely confused as to what we were doing and what we were fighting.
Oh no, that absolutely. The whole also because I usually read like the meta text to get an idea of what's going on. They name the Titan in the meta text with having no context as to what that is. I was like, Savis, Maxime. I'm like, who is this? I was so confused. I thought it was like a typo or something. And come to find out later in the story, it is revealed once you've already finished killing Savis, which is Bavanisos, that it's like, oh, the name is Savis, and it's kind of retroactive, like, oh, I've gained insight retroactively for something that happened like 30 minutes ago, and now it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a question I have for you both then, about the actual, because now, I don't know if it was because I just took it in and forgot, which is entirely possible. But I didn't feel like I was in a Titan. Like I was like, this was a Titan. Yeah. Like there could have been some real... So you know how like with Mordremoth, right? This is a perfect example actually. With Mordremoth was present for so much of the expansion and so much, even just like before you felt... like there was this big entity and presence. Now I get that this is just in this map, but it's, I don't know, it is a bit similar, but like, you know, you have like in Dragonstand or whatever, like the last maps, which is what this is. This is a last map with lanes, right? Which is what Dragonstand is. This is the last map with lanes, and then you defeat the big baddie at the end. So it's similar in that respect, but not in the respect of you just go in the map and that's what you do, and then you just exit, otherwise you die. And I was like, I'm just thinking about it now, like the presence of this Titan didn't really exist for me.
No. 100%. No, yeah.
Nothing. It just didn't feel, it feels, I wonder if it was just, is it just dead? And the meta, is it trying to become alive? Or are we, because I'm a little tiny bit confused. Like, I can't remember all the words to them. I've done it once, and so I might have missed things, and I might have not been in the right place to hear something. But like this could have been, and I just mean audio. There could have been like the sound of it, the voice, or like some noises and moaning. Because sure, we've got like a mouth at the beginning, and then we've got these other things, which are the heart, the lungs, and the brain, I think.
No, just heart and 2 lung pumps.
Oh, 2 heart and 2 lung pumps. Okay, so where is the brain?
It's not there. We don't have a brain.
Where is
this? Okay.
And I think this is a big.
There's so many things wrong with this concept.
I think I agree. Yes. Okay. Good. I'm glad that I'm not floating like in the ether of misunderstanding, which is normally the case.
I think many people can agree that this is like the weakest. I think, in my opinion, this is the weakest writing of any type of villain for Guild Wars 2. It is an absence of a villain, it seems like. But an unwarranted
is that intentional
absence.
Though? Because it's not a villain.
Because it shouldn't.
It should be though, shouldn't it?
Your presentation of Mordramoth is fantastic, and I was going to talk about Mordramoth as well, because I think that is how you perfectly do a villain who is also the landscape.
Just gushing of awesomeness. Sorry.
Yeah, Mordramoth was the jungle. Apparently, Savis is Bavanisos, and it makes it's even more disjointed, because in the journals from Judge, they are constantly talking about how there is something calling to them, as if they can hear a voice and a commanding presence. We get none of that with Savis. And apparently the thing that was calling to the White Mantle was Savis. So I think when we first got into the map, and in the instance when we're done killing all the macrophages, if there was another cutscene where there was a voice or some grumbling, like something to give personality to this Titan, because in no moment did I really understand or get a solid sense that this thing was the Titan.
Yeah,
I literally didn't, like, other than that first part, and then when I did the meta, I was like, oh, there's lungs in it. Wait, what? And I didn't really. I feel bad admitting this, because I don't really care what people think about me if they think I'm stupid because I didn't get the things. I really don't care, because if I did, a bunch of people didn't either. But like, it didn't really click in until the meta again, and then I was like, we're killing the lungs and the heart. Wait, what? Oh yeah. That is why. Okay, I remember now. Really? I
got the impression when you're fighting the doors in these lanes, you're fighting like intestinal. They look like intestines.
And I get that you can see it like visually. You can kind of like blood vessels, or like just like you say, intestines, and it looks kind of like inner body-esque, but it's still very open. It's still very
there
open.
needs to be like constant environmental movement to really get the sense that we're in something.
You know
living.
what? It should have been like Tangled Depths. Like thinner pathways, like, because it's got those kind of inner the tubes and the
claustrophobic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to work. I'm not like heavily into the map, but I think that would have been a better. I mean, there's a lot more to it, right? Like, it would be difficult with their expansion, release. But that kind of map with that kind of it's almost you said it, Fornos, the claustrophobic tightness, because that's what a body is. It's tight, it's compact, it's all in one thing. If we pull out different parts of our bodies, they like go around the earth or something. I can't remember what it is.
But it's also supposed to be a city too. It's all
true. Yeah, that's right. But you could have the city there, but then with just all this gooey stuff everywhere, like closing it in, and I'm just like,
true.
So I guess a Titan body is also not a human body, so like. I don't know. Go on, Fornex.
Sorry, when I first arrived in the city, it's into the whatever this is. I thought that all this weirdness
thing.
I thought it was to do with the Mistgate. I thought it was the corruption of the Mistgate, kind of, that have broken down the city.
We saw the we saw that screenshot, didn't we, in the blog? Do you mean that?
Yeah. Yeah, like
same. I thought that was the map.
I'm wondering. And I thought, oh, this must be some sort of part of the Forge of Failed Creations. There's like parts and hearts and things that look like internal organs. And I'm thinking, well, I mean, if you're creating things, then maybe there's going to be a disgusting organic element to it, maybe.
Sure.
But not. I have to say, I mean, I don't know how you would portray an alien body. You need to kind of have like a phrase book in order to be able to communicate complicated ideas, right? You'll have to be kind of on the same page. And when you don't, how do you communicate effectively in visual language the insides of an alien creature without doing a lot of exposition? And
you could do it on a map. You could do it on the map as you zoom out. Like, you could definitely do it that way.
Constant chattering from it, maybe. I mean, like you said, like visual audio cues, the monsters themselves kind of emoting.
That's the thing, like, you don't need graphics. You don't always need these big, humongous structures and stuff. Like, if you create... I mean, we know they got a great audio team. Like... And obviously, voice acting isn't the audio team, but like, there's still, they could have used anything. They could have used anyone. Like, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, it could have been like flipping, Joe down the road just going, like, don't touch my heart or something. I don't know, whatever. But like, probably not those voice lines. They're not great. I'm not a scriptwriter, it's fine.
Don't touch my heart. Please.
Don't touch my heart.
Please, it hurts.
Only on Valentine's Day.
They could have done it with NPCs though. So there are some NPCs on the map, but they're exploring the gate system, the mirror system, which I don't think has worked at all in any way, shape, or form. But
I'm still confused.
They could have had.
Just like, what is this? Why does it
the
exist? It's just annoying as fuck. Sorry.
But they could have had like the priory here, and they could have had groups of priories talking about, right, so we're going to investigate this and we're going to explore this, and they could have been
just reformed and stuff. Although actually they're still building their forces, but
But they could have had NPCs who were investigating at this place and giving the player visual cues, audio cues, language cues as to, well, this looks like the energy of the Titan that we're inside. Look at the remarkableness, and there could have been like a huge amount of context given with environmental storytelling with characters on the ground. And I don't know whether I missed that, but
I really think any of that is localized within the base camp. But when you're in the base camp, there aren't these other elements of the Titan necessarily around. So they're not really, I don't think they're often talking about that. They're often just remarking like the lowland code and like, oh my God, there's people here. There's like magic. We're not used to this stuff. So when you are officially like inside Bavanisos, there is a lack of NPCs. There's a lack of a reminder from Savis, like any grunts or pains, audio cues from him, and there's nothing really from any priory or anyone else.
Yeah.
So it falls flat. It fell. I don't even like. A part of me thinks that they kind of shot themselves in the foot by naming, like giving a specific character to the city. Yes. I think if it was just like amorphous corruption, it would have, I guess, played off better, because you don't have to then be like, we need that setup. We need to understand that this is a presence, that this is a Titan that is calling to people, that seems to have intelligence. There's like a lack of any of that going on. So if it was just like the Mist Gate and the Titan corruption spewed and like tainted Bavanisos, then it's like you don't have to do as much work. I think that should have been the route they took.
Yeah, because if it talked to the White Mantle, why isn't it whispering to us? Why isn't it trying to make more? If it's trying to exact its revenge, if it's trying to propagate itself, then why isn't it trying to corrupt us and corrupt all of the people who have come to the city with us? That would have been interesting.
There should have been a
could have had people
mechanic.
Exactly, and we having to go and save NPCs and people getting taken over, and actually, like, rather than having to go and hunt for. So we're getting on to the next part, but I don't understand why the corruption was all exclusive to the White Mantle. I don't understand what made them unique and everybody else who's come to visit the map not, because the Forge of Failed Creations can just spit out as many Titans as it wants to. You just keep throwing people in, right? And we have lots of people. They could just keep throwing, and then there would have been more of a sense of kind of agency and danger, because we have to stop it from assimilating the people there. They could have been, that would have been more compelling, rather than we have to stop the heart beating. It's so disconnected. So strange. I don't know.
Even because I guess this is the point in the story where we're actually talking about the open world, because this map is the story. Something what you mentioned, Shebra, a little earlier, which was we have the 3 lanes, we have the 2 lungs and the heart, and you were like, and we fought the brain? No, there is no end goal. There really, and also the way that the map functions is that the groups of people will split off into 3 lanes, and then once you kill the end environmental obstacle, that's the end of the map. There is no point where we all then come back together to fight what you would imagine is like the brain that has the character that has that was what I was talking about when I was playing through this when on Tuesday when it released, not just for the map but for the actual story. This expansion had no climax. There was an absence of a climax. It was like,
I thought there was going to be another.
It was a dud.
It was like it was the this was the penultimate.
Yeah.
Like update. It felt like it was. I wasn't like. We'll talk about the end. But I think because of the map meta being like this way as well. Like you're right. Like I was just like. I feel like I missed something. Like I missed the end. Like I was at the wrong place, or I did something wrong, or like I thought it actually failed because nothing happened. And I was like, what happened? Like, and so
I fully thought.
That's good. I'm glad I didn't miss anything, but I'm also kind of sad now because I thought I had. And I'm like, I wanted to go back play it, make sure that I hadn't. But no, I think I haven't apparently.
When you're done fighting everything, there's a moment that's like, in 2 minutes, Livia will give an announcement. And I was in the middle lane, so I was already next to her, and I was fully delusionally like, oh, she's gonna make an announcement, and we're going to lead into the second. Oh, that too. I was like, it's going to lead into the second phase. And the second phase is we are all collectively going to go through the Mist Gate or something and fight the Savis character.
Yeah.
Which we never, ever encountered this mysterious Titan that Mabon trapped here. Like, we just see the organs and
I guess technically we do, but in a very intimate way.
No, because also it's like...
like...
But also with the story, we're led to believe that there is like a soul behind this creature, which we encounter in the final instance when we like all get to the heart with all the characters like Livia and Anise and all those people.
It could do that. So, go on. Go on. Oh, sorry. So when we're doing the platform and we're Roger comes along with all his eyeballs and we have to blind him. And we have that proud robot moment at the end where he's like, I've helped slay the interdimensional monster, that kind of thing. It would be nice if we had something like that with Mabon, because he was a lot of the story is his compassion for the last Titan, right?
Yeah, which is good.
This was how he saw it.
That is a good part of the story. I like that.
So I think it would be fitting, once the heart starts beating, once we have beaten the meta event, that we would have him appear and say something like, finally he's at rest and now we can both rest, or something like that. We're both done. Although there is a bit of confusion about the whole what we were interacting with all this time, which is but it doesn't. I completely agree. When I did the meta, I was like, I didn't know. I thought it just stopped. There's no coming together. There's no feeling of celebration. There's no like little loot circle of chests that we go run around and take. And then, are there any more like veterans spawning that we can quickly run around the map together in a big group and smash the shit out of for extra loot? That would be smashing. fairly traditional Guild Wars esque content, and no, it's just GTFO. You're done, and a little pop up on your screen. I just, it's not great. It's not their best work. Let's put it that way.
Now the actual mechanics, I think, and the combat and some of the stuff, I did enjoy to a point. You know, like it was actually all right. Like we felt like we were invading a space which was, you know, dangerous, and this event that I've got right now is this was fun. Like, you know, it was okay, but you know, we're here to talk just about the story. But I'll just add that as a little additional thing. Also, I'm apparently doing the meta again, so there's that. Oh no, this is the actual gameplay of the meta. Okay, I've got to get past this. I only had a tiny bit of the bar left, so I just did it.
I have to say, for me, the gameplay has been a bit of a letdown because it just feels like we're continuously like holding the fort. We're holding the fort, and we're holding the fort, and we're holding the fort as enemies spawn, and that's fair. And there's nothing wrong with that gameplay, especially if it's married to like really compelling story or interesting environments or visually diverse enemies.
Fair.
Yeah.
I do like some mechanics. We got to see the War Claw, but more enemies.
That's true. That's true. There was some War Claw stuff going down. Yeah, this is where there was the. Okay, was I waiting for the announcement? I was trying to go to the different body parts and find different things. Oh no, this was when I was trying to fight the things. The Titan membrane. Oh yeah, because you had to fight the membrane and people used the turtle to get the membrane down, which I didn't thought that was okay.
You know, I liked the inclusion of the siege turtles in an expansion that does not give access to the siege turtle. I thought that was pretty cool because they had NPCs come in, so anyone could use them if they were free. I thought that was cool.
That was nice. Not bad addition. Not bad. Yeah, there was like a full-on there was like a little squad of siege turtles. That was cool. Yeah, remember now. Oh, it's on the screen, so now I remember, of course. Which is always helpful.
Also, we kind of forgot what the first boss you fight is Gorseval, or a different entity of Gorseval.
Yes.
That was actually, I genuinely really liked that fight. Yeah, all the mechanics were pretty much the same, like 95% the same, but some of the actual mechanics they altered. So instead of like completely, it would raise you up rather than like give you a massive damage debuff. There was a damage debuff mechanic, which was pretty easy to interact with. You had to go stand in some light. So it was all very well telegraphed in the Gorseval fight. And I loved the CC break bar phase because if you're in that bubble and you fail it, you insta-die. It's not even a down. I found that was really cool. I like that open world mechanics can be punishing in large meta event
that was
moments.
Hilarious. Was that the break bar part?
Yeah.
That we died a lot. Like, it was just like, everyone bring CC. You've been playing Guild Wars 2 for a while at this point. Like, come on, man. But yeah, you're right. It was kind of funny.
Use the Legion EMP.
Yeah. There was literally the tables were down. Like, like 2 or 3 tables down around the different places, and it's like, okay, this is fun.
I still hate that thing. I still hate the mastery. Ugh.
You don't like the table being there?
I don't like it.
I think it's too easy.
It's so universal in these break bar things. It kind of lacks interest.
Doesn't really
in terms.
It doesn't give you the danger. It's just like, here's a table with lots of CC things you can just purchase as an extra button.
I think it could limit the way that the developers approach break bars instead of like having to use environmental effects or tools to like throw rubble to break it. It's like, oh, just EMP it. Yeah.
So true. Try and get to where the next bit is. Okay. Wow, I was doing events and stuff for a long time. Oh yeah, damn. That went on for ages. Holy crap. Okay. Oh, this is where we go to. Oh no, I found the portal, but this wasn't in the story. I was just like, oh, okay, I got map completion.
Yeah.
It looked good. Okay, so this is the part. Check in with Weight and Sorrow. Turn to the island staging grounds. I think I was confused about where the staging grounds. So I was just like, what's happening? I don't know. But it's okay.
Pretty portal attracts there.
Yeah, but the end of the meta was.
I do love the starry effect.
You know so do I. I was just like, it's the one of the legendaries, right? This was the end. This is us like defending the portal, right? Like the end of the meta. I'm pretty sure, wasn't it? Or is it part of the story? I can't remember.
I think in terms of the story, this is like where
I think this is the end of the
everyone
meta.
else is able to catch up, like Isgarin and Anise and all those people. I think that's kind of what the trajectory of the story is supposed to be.
Okay. Started open black line chests. Goddamn. Stop doing that.
I feel so bad. I feel like it would be like unrelentingly critical, but
I'm gonna be 2 seconds. Keep talking.
Granted, there hasn't been much to like praise either. Apart from like the moment to moment character development or like journals and dialogue that we all know and appreciate, it's like when we're looking at a new patch, particularly a finale, we are really looking for those main elements that differentiate it as a finale. And when you are kind of hyping it up, like this is the only map wide meta event map that we have. So there's a lot more weight that goes into it. And with it being a finale, we're putting a lot more weight into how everything is tied up and how those plot twists pay off. So it's just unfortunate that they seem to have like densely packed so much that required, in my opinion, more patches to really flesh out. I don't think this was like able to be done in one patch.
Yeah, this is their second attempt, and I think it is arguably better than Naos. I think, however, I don't know that this kind of prologue content is working for them, and I feel like it brings down the collective mood for the overall smaller expansions, which have been fine. The kind of the main content of the smaller expansions, especially with the smaller price tag, have been absolutely fine. I think a lot of people were really in love with Janthir. I think that they really loved the Care Bear vibe with the Coden, Lowland Coden. I think people are loving the housing. You know, I think that a lot of the meta events, the on-map meta events have been, well, the events rather than meta, have been really like welcomed, and people are enjoying that environment. And I feel like they just keep kneecapping themselves by giving us a prologue which doesn't meet the standards that they have set for themselves, right? We know that they can make great content, and when we get things that aren't right, it's so kind of obvious that it's just not right?
Yeah. And it also, I mean, we've been playing this game for so many years that I think we've definitely been able, we have a refined skill at telling when things fall short in terms of execution and polish, because we've had so many years of, you know, building up that expectation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to live up to. And it's not coming from it's not coming from a place of judgment. It's more like, I just want the game to do really well, and I know that it got shot in the foot by Naos for the last expansion, and it's kind of it's like having a great meal and then the dessert is terrible and all you think about is the dessert. You know, the meal was great. The restaurant was great, the service was great, but the you know, the cheesecake was shit, and that's all people will talk about for the next 6 months.
If the cheesecake was bad like that, that's my favorite dessert, man.
I'm out of there. I'm not paying for the meal.
Like, I mean, if you get cheesecake wrong, you deserve to just be closed down. I'm sorry.
Yeah. In fact, I'll go to the store and get cockroaches.
I'm not talking about Gildos too getting closed down. I'm just talking about this restaurant. Like, damn.
I'll go to the restaurant with cockroaches and then plant them in the kitchen. So. I'll do my part.
Wow.
I'll do my part.
I'm doing my part.
The wrong analogy. Okay, my bad.
I think you continually,
bring cheesecake into it, okay?
As many of these reviews have, I fully agree with that sentiment. And I think that this is another go around of the story is a bit too big or requires too much for what they can realistically do in a smaller expansion, an initial smaller expansion package, and then also restricting themselves to absolutely 3 mid patches before the next expansion. I think if Janthir Wilds was allowed or given 4 or 5 mid patches, we might have had a pretty satisfactory story with Baba Nisos and the White Mantle, but we never really got to that point until the last patch and then Absolution, the finale.
Yeah.
So it was just too much to establish. It was too much for them to color in. We had the framework of what the Mersat are and the Mersat city, and they were coloring bits in, but there wasn't enough time to fully finish the picture.
Yeah. We're still getting the clip notes version. We really are. We're getting the synopsis rather than the story.
Which is why I'm hopeful for the next expansion. We're going back to the desert. I think that these, I get a broader topic maybe, if we can have a side conversation. I think that these year-long expansions do not work well in this setting when they are trying to explore uncharted, untold lands.
Yes.
I think that these year-long expansions need to hyper-focus into already established regions. Cantha, the Crystal Desert, Quarteria, the Maguma Jungle, places where they have a lot already built up, a lot of story, a lot of civilizations, and then include those new enemies and then tie them into the regions that we already know, and they can build off of like the certain elements and civilizations that we already know. We already know these characters. We already know how they work. But when you have to from scratch condense all this into like honestly 2 patches with the Mistborn Barons and Baba Nisos, it's nearly impossible to do it. So I hope next time around we go back to a place we've already been to.
I mean, especially for the size that they are. I mean, I think, you know, what ZeniMax, Bethesda, and like, you know, Activision Blizzard, I guess. You know, ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, have abandoned their yearly update because it's been too predictable.
I heard that. I was wondering what was going on because I've been seeing advertisements for it, but not like a yearly expansion thing.
Yeah, I got very bored of doing that. Like every year, like just be the same thing all the time. Just be like, here's the thing, here's the thing, here's the thing. And but the thing is that they've got the crew and they've got the staffing and they've got the amount of people where, honestly, you know, they were kind of good. they were just because the story is just so there, but they just have one map. Basically, 1, maybe 2 max, and they focused everything in on those 2 maps, everything. And the maps they're just kind of bog standard Elder Scrolls maps. They're nothing too special, honestly, really. It's just that the enemies and the story and the writing is just Elder Scrolls, right? Like it's just so good. And I'm not saying the writing here is bad, but I think, like you said, it's more of like it's stretched so finely that they have to give you everything that they can't give you audibly or even just, you know, in speech bubbles from characters on tiny books in places where I'm just not interested in reading it. Like, I don't want to get my main story beat from reading a journal. Like, you know, I just don't want that. That's not what I want. That's not what anyone should want from any, like, no main story part that you just want it in your face. Like the main bit of the story. I'm not saying like everything. I love reading about some bits where I'm just like, oh, no one else knows this small intricate part of this person's lore. And it might pop up, but that's cool. But like, it is just, we said this last night, like you were saying with Nias as well. And yeah, it's just so... And for next what you're saying before about being critical and like the judgment, etc., I think by now I'm pretty sure they know that we're not like just shitting all over the arena there, because that's definitely not what we're doing.
We've been complimenting. We've been complimentary where
absolutely,
we found
we're not doing that. But this is difficult for them, and but at the same time, I'm like, it does make me feel good that they've got this focus on the game every year, but then if they don't release an expansion every year, like, what are we going to do? And and they're going to be doing this for a little bit of time because they're not going to just stop. But like, anyway, that doesn't matter. That's a conversation for later because we still got to talk about the rest of this story. But yeah, exactly. Proof and phonics is just, it's so thin. It's hard to really. I really like the idea, like you were saying before, Griff, of just going back into Tyria or like, you know, Half Thorns areas or End of Dragons, because like, you know, we just had this huge amount of stuff, and it's just like, yeah, I've not gone back there once or at all. And
just imagine like an Order of Shadows expansion. We know who the Order of Shadows are. We've got all that established lore. We've got the characters. You don't have to introduce them. You don't have to build from the ground up an entire new order. It's there. We know it's got history, and we could move forward with it, and we could move further and explore further into that region, into the deserts again. That would be amazing. There are so many little areas. You could. They don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. I love that we have the wizards. I think that they open up many doorways. It's good. We've had 2 wizardy expansions now. Let's go back to some characters who's deserve to have their own expansion. It doesn't have to be a new character. We could have an expansion based around Marjorie and Drury. We could have an expansion based around some of the characters who, like, we could have a whole expansion about Livia and what Livia does next, right? Because she is cray-cray. And like
go back to Ore, oh my god, Kroof, yes. Exactly. Going back to Ore. Ore is the best. Flipping love Ore. Ore is so good.
Or Kunavang. We could have a story about Kunavang. What did Kunavang do next? This immortal creature. There's so many great established characters. Maybe she's very slinky, but look, I'm down for all that.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Did you just laugh after you said that?
I think my overall final judgment of this new expansion format is riding on expansion 6. I think next expansion will be the make or break point for me if I have any like faith in this new format. And I really hope that they really focus into an existing area and not try to go beyond into new worlds just yet. I think that requires like a new game with that much production and that much time and that much dedication to make a satisfying experience.
Yeah, I just don't think that they should have brought the Masat in at this point. I know that they wanted to deal with Mobam's death, okay, but no. This is not. So we were having a teddy bear expansion. I was enjoying our teddy bear expansion. I wanted more teddy bear expansion. Let's go and sort out the Bog Queen. Let's have a story about the Bog Queen that was introduced with this, and like explore all that weird ass lore with the terrifying children's book in the homestead. That would have been great. The Masat deserve their own expansion.
This could have been the expansion where we explored the Woodland Cascades and the Lowland Coden, and we really stuck in that northern region. The fact that we went to Janthir was at first we were all like, how is this going to turn out? Oh, the Lowland Coden are next to it.
I loved the intro of that expansion.
I loved it.
Oh my god.
It was so strong.
Yeah.
And that was like, it was a new civilization, a newer sect, but we knew they were Coden, and we just got to explore how they were similar and how they were different. And the region was new but familiar. It was like, the woodland areas north of Kryta. So there was all like a sense of familiarity, but novelty. But then Janthir, there's also been so much writing on Janthir because it's been a huge mystery. We've known about it for so long that you have to deliver essentially an entire expansion dedicated to just the Isles of Janthir. Not like half Coden, half Janthir, half Mersat, a quarter White Mantle. It was a little all over the place.
Yeah, it's true. It was the scope was too wide, like we've been saying for a while now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a perfect opportunity to actually dive into Waking Sorrow. Soros, we literally why didn't we dive into the Coden lore there? Why didn't we, with her, explore what happened? Why the voice went crazy? Was it Jormag? We could do that. But
we went Titans instead.
The Masat, yeah, and we could have still had all the Masat elements because this is a place where they were, but they could have just been that. They could have just been elements that the Coden are having to overcome in their lives and regions that they're trying to take back and like cleanse of the corruption and all the rest of that. You can still have all that great dark lore about it, but I feel like it's like Palawa Joker. Palawa Joker he deserved more, and the Masat deserve more as a culture, as a people, especially now that we have more information about them, that like they're multiverse creatures basically. I mean there are some like really interesting stuff happening at the end of the story when we've finished up with all this. There's interesting conversations where we get like a wider look, and we talk to oh goodness me, I've forgotten her name. We talked to one of the wizards about what was Moban. Was this an echo of him? Was this a memory of him? And there's a hint that he might exist in the multiverse still, that a version of him might be out there somewhere. That's kind of the impression that I got from some of the dialogue, which is super incredibly interesting. But it's just it's too little jam spread over too much bread. It's just it
always leaves you wanting more and needing more. Yeah.
Now I wish that this was like a Coden expansion, and then expansion 6 was going to be
Titans.
Janthir and Titans.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're painting a bit too broad, but that's why I'm really riding on next expansion to see how they adjust their scope.
Yeah. It's so disappointing. So if the Titans invaded, every single chart on the planet would be here. They would have dropped everything that they were doing, and they would have come and they would have besieged it. It's not just one woman going, "Oh, the false gods." No, it would be like a cultural touchstone. It would be like they would drop whatever shit they were doing, and they would come over here and they would stomp the fuck out of all the Titans.
Ooh, the Char could have been major players in like a Janthir expansion, and then at the very end of the Janthir expansion, we have the Con-Ur fights, and that leads to the next expansion because you have to then answer like, oh, this is the time to finalize the Con-Ur, and we go back to the Blood Legion homelands. Like there is a way to weave these stories together in its own expansion bubbles, but it's like they're trying to do multiple expansions in one. Okay.
We are going off we do need to talk about the story more.
Do we?
Well, this is how connected we felt it. That we started talking about the future more because hopefully the future is
brighter. Hopefully,
but this was, we had the last memory of Mabon, which came out, and then where did we go to next? We were checking in with Olivia, and I think we went to join them at the port. Like they found the port. Did they find the port, or like I can't remember this bit.
So I played through this today. So we have a conversation. Sorrow says that she's found more like notes, more apparitions of Moban, and he says that he kind of like goes through his interaction with the Titan. So he finds the Titan, he's cursing it, he hates it, he's chasing it through the city, and then he kind of has a moment of revelation where he feels shame because they are both the last of their kind, and then he's like, look, he basically seals it in leaves the mist gate open so that it can escape. It's like he's found a stray dog and he's like left the front door open so he can go home. But instead of going home, he doesn't. I don't get it either.
It's like, ah, yes, the thing that eradicated my people. I'll let you live. What?
The
compassion for like I think it's the, I mean, what I understood from it was that surely nothing bad can happen from this. Like, you know, kind of like I understand what it's like to be, there was like direct empathy of like one of the last of your kind or whatever. Like, you know, I get that, like, and I understand, and it would feel shitty to kind of eliminate like everything of your kind, but like they are inherently not good. Like they, you know, they don't really, there's no evidence that there is a, you know, morality or ethics. Yes.
It's not the last, because it's like it's made in a factory, so you can have as many as you just keep throwing people in, and titans come out the other end.
Churn it out.
Maybe the last of the in this area, this battle. Well, yeah, I guess, I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. If that was the feeling I got.
I mean, him not wanting to kill is something that him not wanting to kill it is fine. That I don't know why he would have to feel, because you cannot want to murder a Nazi and yet have no compassion for the Nazi. It's not about the Nazi, it's about you. True. And these things are just murder machines, right? They just that's what they do. So, but I don't know. I like that he's here, and I like that we get more Mabam, because I don't think we got enough of him, and his death was kind of, it was an oddity. There was no really real explanation in the previous expansion why some people died, why some people could be saved, what was going on, and it felt like he died arbitrarily to kind of have a moment for Zosha, for her character growth.
Yeah.
But I don't know, him arriving, the thing that we're interacting with, being aware of events happening in the world, even though he's not alive anymore. It's just there's lots of questions, and it's fine for a storyteller to kind of take you to strange places, but they have to give you logical like steps that you can take so that you believe that the weeping angels are coming for you, right?
Yeah.
You have to have the logical steps, and I just don't feel like there's been enough steps put forward to explain how this thing that is Mobam is interacting with us, and how he is present and sentient even though he's not. I just it's very confusing.
Or is it Mabon? Ooh.
Oh god. Okay, so let's get back to the story, and we'll finish the story first.
Sorry.
And then, well, I mean, that's still got to do with it, so it's okay. Okay, so then we start making our way to the gate, but then there's these, what are they called? These shadow thingamajigs that pop out. Are they from the mists?
Yeah.
These creatures? Okay, and they're trying to come out of the gate.
They're from the Realm of Torment. So the Realm of Torment gate is open. This is the Shadow Army. This is part of you remember the one of the Kanaxai? He was a member of the Shadow Army. This is another. They're just demonic spirits from the Realm of Torment seeping out into the world.
Yeah. Ties to Menzies and not Balthazar, Abaddon.
Yeah.
Excellent. Sorry, we got last bit of coffee, which was also coffee grounds in my mouth, which is gross. Anyway. So we fight them, we do the fighting. There is a lot of defending and moving towards in terms of the fighting mechanics, etc., etc. It's very similar. Starts to get a little bit older here.
I do think it is, do we think it is extremely intentional that it is the Shadow Army and not just more like raw Titan essence? Because I think this might be like subtle hints to kind of loop us back into like the god stuff, or like at least have it on the mind, because I know it's certainly been on my mind. Throughout this city, there are quite a few texts that you can read, and a surprising amount of the texts talk about the Crystal Desert. and the Forgotten and Glint's Prophecy. So it's like it's a lot in that region, which I find interesting.
Possibly.
I mean, I was certainly hoping that we were going to be looped into some sort of Abaddon or Abaddon adjacent or Menzies, because we're going into the realms of torment. I was hoping that that was going to be like the grand finale where it was Menzies all along and he's back and that kind of thing. I don't mind that it's kind of a prologue, a farewell tour for Boban. I don't mind that as a narrative moment. I just don't think that they've done it particularly well because of the ambiguity of the entity that we're talking to. It just didn't hit me. Some people might really love this, but it was a miss for me. It was just a miss for me. I wanted something else, and that's allowed. They're allowed to go a different way than what I want, right?
Yeah.
Are they? Okay.
100%.
So, okay, it's tied to, because he's talking about how his life force is tied to the Mists and Mabon's life force. So he's going to be just kind of, I think we're going to see Mabon more maybe, but not yet. Like maybe in the future, like if we do get back into the Mists, he's going to pop up at different times. Okay.
Yeah, this is the confusing conversation where he's talking about like the Mists and multiverse, and it seemed like he was saying that there might be multiple iterations of him out there in the Mists, which is great from a story point of view, but confusing from. I mean, he's just said goodbye to all his friends, so it's kind of odd. I don't know. See, I'm confused. This is.
We do have to go and get the touchstones.
This is me.
This is an important part.
Yeah.
The stones which will be touched.
This was nice. I mean, well, this part, it was cool that the main story has us going back to Central Tyria, to various locations.
Oh yeah, shoot, I don't remember that. Huh.
But the touchstones, they really only serve as like putting the three characters, Ulrich, Tatiana, and Judge, into the forefront of our minds. They just add a little bit more character to them, a little bit more essence to who they are, but
yeah,
I found this quite like, in the grand scheme of how the story ends, it's like pretty blech anyways, because the characters themselves end up being pretty blech.
Feels like a distraction.
It's just not engaging.
No.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's a mechanic that they added on top of the boss fight where you click a button and something happens. And there's nothing wrong with having these characters rooted in the world, but the way that we've been interacting with them or not interacting with them and not seeing them and not having that, they do feel like ghost characters. They feel that they're pen and paper, right? And it's difficult to flesh them out with a hidden object search. So I don't know.
Yeah, good idea, but like you said,
yeah, this is
everything needs more time.
It's also strange because like we've never met them, so how in the world would we have any idea of where to begin looking and like how things are attributed to which type of person? It's just they kind of hand wave it away with like these certain locations are kind of notorious for having white mental activity, but it's like where would we even begin to look? How would we know what is attributed to who? It's just
I mean, I thought they were talking about like going back to the raid locations or something like that. Or because you're right. It's just random. It's a needle. They've sent you to search for a needle in a haystack.
If anything, this should have been the story, the point in the story where we retrace the steps in like Janthir Century, the Lowland Shore, maybe in Mistborn Barrens, and we find a piece that they left behind, and we use the Heart of the Obscure to see their vision, and we play that mission through their skin, and we do that for each of them, and we get like 3 small instances with all the characters, and then by the time we get to, ultimately, I think it's still a little too close to the end to properly like establish what I would have wanted, but that's, I think, what should have happened. I think you're right on the nose when you talked about the Living World Season 2 stuff for Nax.
Okay. So we got the touchstones, all the white mantle stuff, and hopefully we're going into the thing now that we're finally back. It's kind of a funny line there I just caught onto. Like, imagine having such a sad life. Oh my god. Yeah, Anise and Livia's banter is pretty good.
She's brutal.
They are.
She's brutal.
Really just don't care.
She's brutal.
There we go.
Yeah. I don't believe in eternal punishment for finite crimes. I really don't. That's like a huge moral failing there, darling. Sorry, but yeah. Holy shit.
But then we pop into the portal. Here we go. Single file. It was a single file portal movement towards the portal. Oh shoot! Wait. Let's go back. I'm gonna go in the
Was
portal.
this where was it Mabon who talked about Ulrich, Tatiana, and Judge being the Titans? I forgot. Like, I think it was Mabon because I'm like, at what point did we as the player learn that these three characters were the three Titans? I think
So
Mabon probably just dropped it.
We suspected. We do a verbal, oh, could it be that simple? 3 of them come in. We suspected it when we were reading through the notes at their camp once we got kind of through the portal, through the like blocked portal with Livia. So in that camp area where there's all those notes, that's the first time we say anything related to that. So that I think that's where you're supposed to be putting these things together. But again, if you're not reading the notes and you're not listening to the, like, you don't know that they've been camping and there's been whispers and they've been drawing it out and they're all starting to like lose their mind and see things. You're not going to know what the fuck is going on because it's not telegraphed in any other way other than a few like vocal prompts. It's not.
Because then it also made me like go back and like reflect on my time and our time with the Titans. Ura, Decima, and Greer, and trying to analyze their personalities. Because Decima and Greer, they seem to have like a relationship, but then Ura seems to be like head and shoulders like the leader. So I'm like, who was Judge Ura, and was Judge like the leader of the two? But they all seemed pretty like evenly in rank, it seemed, amongst the 3 White Mantle traveling. And it's also strange that for the White Mantle, they were assumingly 2 men and a woman, but then the Titans, it was 2 feminine voices and 1 male voice. So there's even like a difference between like what you would expect between the lineup of who these people are and who the Titans are.
Yeah. They're also like, in terms of like character, so the White Mantle were allied with the Masat. The Titans murdered all of their gods. So why, once they realized what was happening or what this thing was, why would they submit? Where is the resistance that they would put up? I mean, they literally murdered the gods that they think saved them. They literally were responsible for the downfall of the White Mantle, along with the Shining Blade. But I mean, like, all the Masat being murdered super helped, right? To rid them from the land and take away the power of the White Mantle. So where is the moment they realized that they were being tempted into like a pit of death by their enemy? Like, and there's no like hint of that anywhere. There's no hint of who they were when we're fighting them as Titans, or like, just imagine you're turned into the worst thing, the thing that you hate the most. That surely that's an opportunity for the character design team to have them say some weird cryptic shit to kind of like give us some, flavor of what's to come,
Corrupted or something or whatever. And
then like filling in the gaps when we fought Ura. She was like, he will reforge us. And I guess that he, who I thought was going to be like Abaddon or Menzies, is just Savis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But we never meet Samus, so it's just like.
Well,
what?
I mean, I guess we meet him in a very intimate way.
You get to touch his heart.
You get to touch his heart and lungs. So, or depending on which lane you're on.
It's unfortunate because like a lot of what happens in this instance, upon going into the portal,
I don't mind this instance actually.
Taints a lot of what we experienced in the main expansion with the Titans themselves.
Yeah, I like the actual instance itself. Like it looks cool. I actually really like the art.
Love the art. I saw this and I was like, oh, it's on like Donkey Kong. We're about to have a finale of all finales. I was excited.
Yeah, the artwork is phenomenal. So
it would have been lovely to explore a little bit other than the platform they were allowed on.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, yes, cool. Fornax, I agree.
This was the hope. The hope was this was the map.
Extra points, cutscene.
Yeah, they definitely hit it with the cutscenes have been. This is the right. Maybe one or two more, but like I think this is a pretty good amount of cutscenes. I feel like there's been some Lightbringer feedback here which has been taken in deeply with in terms of like not having the mail and a considerable amount of more of cutscene action. I'm like, I wonder if we had a little bit of influence there. It would be nice if that was. I think we do. I think everyone's feedback obviously does, but
yeah,
it feels good.
I think like, it's a great use of their Vista technology. I think it's a great use of that, and that's sometimes all you need. You just need an establishing shot to make people feel like they're in the story. It doesn't always have to be super high effort. I mean, you've gone to the effort of making these beautiful environments. I was just hoping to be able to explore this place a little bit more. I was hoping for some Easter eggs or some hints of the history here before. And I mean, he does talk about having to come here a couple of 100 years ago to clean up after some Tyrian heroes, which is nice. That's a nice throwback to us veterans.
That's true.
But it would be nice for there to be some remnants. It's a very pristine environment other than the monsters. It's very crystalline. I think this is very reminiscent of when we were fighting Balthazar in the desert. There's these glass-like structures for when the dragon died and the explosion, which is great. I love the fact that they're reusing all these different assets in different ways, and I'm not going to bitch that we don't have everything isn't brand new and unique, but it would be nice to have been able to explore this place a little bit more. We're kind of stuck on two platforms. And it's just not particularly engaging, thoughtful gameplay. We arrive, we murdered some things, we murdered some more things, and that's
it.
That's the bulk of it. Yeah.
Okay, so we get to the because we start fighting them individually, don't we? The tormented souls, as they've been called here, which is okay.
This is what I was expecting to be the climax of the story, and I guess it is, but I think it's one of the weaker climaxes in Guild Wars 2. In Guild Wars, maybe in general.
I'm just reading some of the text of what they say.
Like you just fight them one at a time.
Yeah.
It's not like they come together and form some like monstrous amalgamation where you have like this set piece that you can really feel like, I did it. I just.
They do talk
there's
about
not
the
much
shadow.
Else for me to say.
They do say. See, someone just did say that the shadow has warped your mind. So is it the mists that have corrupted them, so that they become, as you were saying, is that what corrupted them? Because that's what she said. She, what's her name, Olivia?
I mean, it's the Titans, but it's all fruit from the same poisonous tree, right? It's all from the realm of torment. It's all from the Forge of Field creations. The Shadow Army, the Titans, Abaddon. It's all kind of one big amalgam of badness that was directed at the world to try and free Abaddon from his like Mist Realm prison.
Well, do you think then that this could be? The thing is, like, one expansion to the other doesn't. We've talked about that before, and I think that's our hope to a degree. But like they said, they want these expansions to be fairly independent, but they're not, right? Oh, well, maybe they haven't said that specifically, and maybe that's.
I mean, I think you're right. I think they did say that they wanted them to be self-contained, and this is nicely bookended. Well, no, I mean, we don't get, so spoiler alert, there's no big bad. We don't drive out the darkness. It doesn't consolidate into the Titan, and then we beat the snot out of him. That doesn't happen. We get them down to a certain percentage point. They fall over. The next one comes along. And then we have a moment with Mobam at the end of this where he kind of it's catharsis. I think it's supposed to be like his goodbye, his farewell scene, where there's a bit of closure for his friends.
Yeah, we're talking.
I genuinely thought that when we were done fighting these three, that we were like, oh, and I said it verbally in chat. I was like, while streaming, I was like, oh, we're like gonna start walking towards the gate and something's gonna happen. Like the gate's gonna get destroyed and we're stuck in the foundry and we have to go into the found. I fully thought there was going to be another beat, and I kept saying that on my stream. I was like, okay, Annette, I see what you're doing. Funny. And then literally nothing happened. And I was like, wait. Oh no, wait. You weren't joking. That was actually it. So that was the most joy I actually felt while playing this entire instance, was just the humor of it all. It's like, wow, that was it. Okay. I felt like we were just exterminators. It was like a pest extermination expansion. It was like, oh, okay, we did your termite work. I gotta go to the next house. Bye.
Well, why? So we freed them. We freed them from the corruption, right?
Right.
So we're supposed to be freeing them. So why aren't their souls coming back and going, we were corrupted by this? There's no kind of,
the freedom
and then
was
they
death,
could like evaporate,
wasn't it?
But they're in the myths, so like, what happens?
Do
they like?
They like
what happens
they
to
kind
a
of
soul
just
that's
bugger
dead?
off for a while. I guess I don't know. Like you say, like there's just no real, explanation. These mechanics for the bosses for these guys is actually not too bad. I like that they've got cute. The chaos bubble as well, like the chaos bubble, the shadow, the blind bubble, whatever it's called.
I think these fights would actually gain a lot more if there weren't so many AI allies with us. Maybe one or two, but there's just too many. There's way too much going on.
Yeah, well, Guild Wars 2 ain't too much going on is kind of part of the game right now, isn't it? I mean, it's always been that way. Yeah.
In an instance, it doesn't have to be.
No.
Like, just tailor this for like you and Olivia and Anise fight it or something.
You do use the Heart of the Obscure to help uncorrupt them, though.
Yes.
And then they're dead. And they're actually dead. They're on the floor. And wait.
Yeah.
So many very well say the same for us, perhaps none of us are deserving. Okay, wait.
Because maybe they were humans, because we are not dead in the mists. So I think they weren't dead, they were alive. They were just corrupted. So their soul maybe went to a different realm in the mists.
Well, the thing is that they have corpses.
Yeah. So we killed the physical bodies.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. They didn't deserve absolution. There you go. There's the title.
Yeah.
And then my bond's not talking about his stuff. Sorry, go on.
No, that's it. That's the whole thing. She's such a dick. That's it. That's the whole statement right there. She's such a dick.
Yeah. The thing is here, like, Mabon says, and I thought Epoch was thy finest work, and I'm like, I mean, we only just killed like 3. What?
And then the commander makes a very strange statement, which I have a feeling they're trying to set things up, because Mabon says that, and the commander's line is, which is like, it just read weird to me. It was like the commander wasn't expecting it, or like is interested as to why he knows of Eparch. Like, I don't know, there was something off, I feel like, about that line in particular. I feel like they're trying to allude to something.
Yeah, this is the point where you realize that he knows what's happening in the world. He knows what's happened with the passage of time. He's aware of things that as a dead person he should not be aware of. And you're like, yeah.
I don't know. Well, there is that, but I'm also like, if that was the case, why wasn't he in the Mistburn Barrens? Why hasn't he been like following us along throughout this? I guess like the Mistgate, but
they didn't have enough money to do that, Criff.
Because we got to see his spirit in the Mistburn Barrens, but they were echoes. They were not actually him. So I don't know. I just wonder I wonder if there is, because everything at least in movies and TV shows, every element has intention and it's there for a specific reason. And I think the same can be said for video games. I'm just wondering, like, are they doing something where it's not actually Mabon? Are they going to like set up next expansion that this was Lissa? Is this going to be some type of twist in the future? I don't know. I'm not ruling it out, but I'm just kind of like lost as to what this is trying to do.
Yeah, but I think it's him, but I think it's like they couldn't. I don't know. I actually don't know. I have no theory or thought about this at all, actually.
And the only theory I have with like Lissa is because in Bavanesis, in the open world, there is a priory log that says that there is a piece of a mirror in here that is not Mersat in origin. And the only other mirror I could think of in the story is Lissa's mirror. Okay. And like Mabon is a Mesmer, the Mesmer Collective. Is this an illusion of Lissa? Because they also get to utilize the Mesmer effects. It's like, I'm like, in my brain, I'm just like manically thinking, are they trying to do some subtle hints as to what's happening? And the continuous lore books in the zone talking about Alona and the Crystal Desert. So I'm always like trying to read into something that may or may not be there. So
yeah, I mean that's kind of what I guess we do as well with the story and like the next expansion and linking things, because it's kind of natural, right? Like especially if you're interested in lore and whatnot.
But, I mean, at the end of the last expansion, we got the Eye of Janthir, which pointed us to where we were going. Yeah. And I was looking for Easter eggs. I really was.
Weren't you probably also looking for the Eye of Janthir as well? The big thing that we've all forgotten that was literally pointing us to the next expansion wasn't there. Like with the Eye of Janthir, like the Eye of Janthir was in Secrets of the Obscure, but like was maybe a hint to the next expansion, but wasn't there. So why was it even there?
There still is a mystery behind the Eye of Janthir, I guess. Like who's utilizing it?
Yeah.
Was that Mabon? Like I don't know. Like that could have been Mabon, maybe. I don't know.
I guess it could have been.
I don't know.
But can a missed version of a Mersat use the eye?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, hells don't know. No, gods knows. No, I can't remember what I was going to say. I don't know.
We don't know anything. I will say that in the next instance, when we're kind of consolidating and we're talking, we give our report to the Pact, and you can have many conversations. If you go through all the conversations, there's a question. We question the Tengu from the Dominion of Winds, and we ask, do you think that the Dominion of Winds will ever be open to us? And he's like, maybe in our lifetime. So if you want to have a bit of hope. Yeah,
that's my hope of the next expansion is that.
I feel like the same Tengu said the same exact thing last expansion.
Probably.
I think they've used that line.
By the next expansion, just so you know, just in case.
Yeah, it was just my brain's getting fried.
Legitimately, my favorite point in this last episode is with Ellen Keel and Logan Thackeray. Sneaking out at the end
but
into a room.
Another person as well?
I'm sure they were just playing checkers. Yeah.
Isn't there another person as well? There's another lady as well who's involved in this. Like,
that goes into the room.
No, well, like there's someone else who's talking about Logan. Jenna. Is it Jenna? No.
Yeah.
But there's another person who's like a lover, like who feels like they could be like a triangle. It's not Jenna.
And Ellen Keel.
Was it?
Yeah. Jenna.
Yeah.
Jenna, yeah. She wasn't wearing her white dress though. She got changed. That might have thrown you off.
Yeah, she was using her battle clothes.
Oh, maybe. This was boring as hell for me. Other than that bit, I was just bored. I was just like, this is the end of the expansion, and I'm sad. I was just genuinely very sad. I was.
A meeting.
Yeah.
I was just.
I like this. I kind of, you know what? I kind of like when we go back to the Tyrion Alliance.
As long as it's not like. Yeah, I mean that's cool. Like as a little going back, like cool, yes. But like as the end, I mean, I guess it's a nice little bow and everything, but it just felt really long. And like it was like, oh, I've got to go talk to everyone now. And okay, I guess so. And then my Bond just buggers off and walks out the door because he's this antisocial bastard. And then and I get it, and I'm like, okay, it's cool.
Real recognizes real.
True. True.
And then I was like, okay. And one thing is that there's the heart, the crown, and the fist return again.
Oh yeah,
back in the
dignity, and ferocity.
Yeah, which exists in different places. Like, and that keeps coming up from like the heart keeps coming up from I like your armor a lot. Like that keeps coming up in different places for NPCs.
I would love if they added an option that was like, oh, I hate your armor. And they go, hey, that's not nice. That'd be a great like little change of pace.
That would be cool. It was nice to check in with a bunch of people again. It did see Kanak, who was there, which was cool. And
Kanak and Saida being there. Another Alonian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't mind this little bit, the little celebration where they did have the party and Thingy-Majig they were talking Jenna and whatnot. Yeah, I think that was cool. There were kids, there was like Krisha and Ritlock was there as well, and he was like, oh, I'm too busy.
He's like seemed to retire. He's like, my adventuring days are over. What?
Mm-hmm. It's a bit interesting, but I'm wondering if he's got one more expansion in him. In terms of wandering around.
I mean, they're not going to kill him off.
No. Wow.
It was nice to see everyone together again and see our old crew and everything.
It is a combination of all of the different ages of people who have been kind of with us since the beginning.
No cast and jury though.
Yeah, that's still weird. Like, when are we having that flipping marriage? Like, the actual wedding ceremony? Like, did we technically have it? Like, I thought it was just an engagement party.
It was an engagement party.
So we haven't actually had the flipping marriage yet.
No, they haven't had the ceremony.
I mean, I know engagements can last a long time. I get it. But, like, how long has it been now? I mean, some people have like 10-year engagements sometimes and they just never get married. I was kind of annoyed that
that was Janthir Wilds.
That was the game. That was it. That was the expansion. That was the end. They celebrated and then you went and talked to everyone about what they're doing in the world and how they feel and what's going on, which was okay, I guess. There's an achievement attached to it.
Yeah.
There is. I felt obliged to read everything, so I did. I was kind of like getting to the end of it and I was like, wow, I'm just tired now rather than celebrating and ecstatic for the expansion. I'm just kind of tired and I just want to stop now.
That is fair. It does feel like if you've gotten to this point, you feel like you have to go and there's so many people to talk to.
It is an achievement, which is, I believe, 33. I think it was 33 or 23 at least NPCs to talk to with text or dialogue. And then you also had the flipping credits over the top, so the people that you couldn't hear because there was no voice actor for them had to get to a point where I could see the flipping text like a link like thingy kill, and I was just like, okay, cool. Did this have to be here? I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
I think I was just like, yeah. I'm looking at my face, and throughout this last episode, I'm not like, wow, or like, you know, I'm not making those really big reactions that people just enjoy my streams for, because mostly like it's reactions that a lot of people come to watch me because I'm very expressive, and I'm looking at my face and I'm just not expressive. I kind of look bored.
I don't mind these. I do like getting to talk to characters and like seeing their insight and whatnot.
In bits and pieces, but it's so many people. It's
so many, and so many people that we really don't need any updates. Like people who are not involved at all.
What's she doing there? I don't care.
And it's also like, it would have been better if the finale was a little bit more satisfactory to have this debrief with everyone, but it's kind of like, it's not salt in the wound, but it's like another taxing, exhausting thing to do at the very end of a not so great finale.
Yeah, it felt, yeah.
I think that they are trying to reproduce that Final Fantasy XIV kind of pathos, payoff, like dinner with your friends at the end of a long journey. I think they're trying to, with the engine that they have, with the mechanics that they have, do something like that. And I don't mind. If you're a lore nerdy person, this can be quite interesting, and there were interesting things that happened in it. But for your average Joe who just wants to, who's here for the action, and they need the big spectacle to capture their attention, this is less than ideal as a story delivery system. And I feel like a nice cutscene could have like summed all this up quite quickly.
A nice cutscene with a hint to the next expansion would have been lovely. Giving us something. I'm wondering if there's something in here that I missed that may be present and around. Maybe the Eye of Janthir is randomly hiding in a box somewhere. So we can't go back there. So where we go next?
I don't know. I mean, unless we're going to have like a love triangle between Jenna, Ellen Keel, and Logan Thackeray as the cusp around which the story flows.
Now I still saw Jenna, and I was like, oh, okay. I think sometimes in my brain, Jenna and Casimir kind of mix together, because I was thinking about them, and I thought it was them you were talking about. For some reason, they kind of combine as one person for me sometimes. I'm not sure why that is.
Feet.
You heard it here first. Guild Wars 3 Menage a Trois. Yes. So yeah, that's what's happening next.
That's the next game. The entirety of the game is based off of an affair between Logan, Jenna, and Watson. Which one do you? And then you get to vote at the beginning, and then we just back when Guild Wars.
Depending on the vote. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm just saying, Stellar Blade puts bombs on seats. You just need some good boob physics.
That's
Victoria's
true.
Secret underwear, and we're off to the races.
And some big swords.
Big swords. There's just one big sword. Oh no, we don't know.
I think Bayonetta has a lot to answer for. That's what I think.
Amazing. Okay.
I will say that I like to find out about like the what people. So we were talking about this before the podcast started. I like the fact
relaxing
that
your anus,
in these conversations, leave my anus out of this for a second. So,
trust, my anus is out.
Oh my god.
Relaxed.
Oh my gosh. The clean stuff that we were talking about before the podcast started. So the clean stuff, the very few words. So it's nice to feel like the world is continuing, like people's lives are going on, and in the conversations that you have, like you see that Kanak is business is doing well, and they're moving on, and there's things happening in the Dominion of Winds, and there's things happening in Alona, and that the Sun Spears that like, I think that you might be right, Kroof, about us going back to the Crystal Desert, because there's a conversation with one of the Sun Spears talking about how they're finding their freedom again. They're kind of like regaining everything that they lost with Palawa Joko and of course Balthazar, because the amount of destruction that happened in that region from him was quite horrendous. And So I think that there is a distinct possibility, because of all the little Easter eggs, that we could be going, and I would 100% love to go back and explore where the Sun Spears go from here, because they're a fascinating sect, deep history, all established. They wouldn't have to start like building from dot. And I'm hopeful that they will do better. But again, from a lore point of view, it's nice that the world moves on. From a storytelling point of view, this is going to be very Marmite. People are either going to like it or they're gonna just ignore it. So it's, I don't know. I agree with Kroof and you. There's not enough here to hold people's attention. It's not been telegraphed and done well enough. And I feel like these like whatever prologue, whatever that we're going to call these last 3 installments, I feel like they just drag down the rest of the expansion. I think that they drag it down because they can't give it the time and the quality that it needs.
I would not be opposed to them breaking free of the rigid structure of having 3 mid patches, like 5.1, 5.2, 5.3. I think by limiting themselves in how much they need to get done in a certain amount of time, it limits the potential of creating a satisfactory and good story. I would be okay if we got an expansion every year and a half rather than every year, just to give another patch or 2 to these expansions. I think 3 is cutting it a little short, especially when we have seen that these patches are sometimes no bigger and perhaps even smaller than a Living World release. Those were moving the story, but even those weren't like progressing the story in leaps and bounds. And we had like up to 6 to 8 of those for a season. And that's kind of what it takes to really do this world justice, the whole world of the Guild Wars universe. So 3 just, I don't think is viable. I would not be surprised, and I would actually perhaps encourage them to test around doing 4 mid patches, and giving themselves a little extra instead of just 3.
And stay on topic. Don't try and drag a whole new area, a whole new lore, whole new civilization, and tack it on the end as almost like, it almost felt like an afterthought. If they'd have stuck with telling more Lowland Coden story, I think that would have been much stronger, because it's much more based in the world that was at the bit that they really like put all the time and effort and energy and art assets into. I think that would have been much better. So again, it's like, it's the scope. The scope was the problem. They're still trying to punch well above their weight, and it's just dragging down what was, I think, a quite fun, beautiful, well-executed main expansion being dragged down and like kneecapped by the afterthought of this I don't know what to call it. This stuff that we get at the end.
I was like, pretty impactful part of your statement there.
Not kneecapped.
Yeah, like, whoa. Yeah.
Y'all in the knees?
Only
I mean, how hyped was everybody for the Lowland Coden? How hyped was the Janthir? Properly, like, everyone was happy.
What's kind of funny is that I remember being so much more excited for Janthir and the Mersat rather than the Lowland Coden. And the Lowland Coden ended up being my favorite, most enjoyable part of this entire experience, because they really came out swinging. The first map was so well done. It was so intricate. It was so populated with like side quests and pamphlets, and there were huts that had open doors. You can go in and explore and look inside. Like, and it sounds kind of like, well, these are basic things that like MMOs you expect them to be, but for Guild Wars 2, they're far and few between, it seems like, for the majority of the game. But they really do help a player feel like they are a part of a world, and get to understand a region and what the people are like and the conflicts and all that. So I loved the Lowland Shore. And then I at least started to see the cracks when we got to Janthir Century. There was a very stark difference, in my opinion, when it came to the quality of those two maps. And I don't think Janthir Wilds was able to regain what the Lowland Shore was in the Mistborn Barrens and in Bavanisos. So
it was a very good map. That's very true.
It's almost as if 12 months isn't enough time for developers to create a fully fledged expansion. Almost.
I don't think they're doing it over just 12 months.
But you know what I mean? They are not. Yeah. They're not given enough time.
Well, they have enough time if they have enough staff, I think, and they need more people to do the things that they maybe want to do in that short amount of time. I think that they could do it if they had more people. Like, I'm not saying that it is just a bit of a, I think it's too much for them. And I'm starting to just believe that that's the case. I don't think it's a talent thing. I don't think it's a skill thing. I think it's too much.
It's their resources. I think a lot of their resources are probably, we know they have another project that they're working on. I don't think any of us know like the intricacies of what is going on at ArenaNet in terms of, how things are divvied up.
Yeah.
But
that's true. You don't know how many of those people are on said new things.
I would hazard to guess that if I was responsible at ArenaNet, I would put most of the resources into the new project. So I don't think that in the next expansion or the next few expansions that we're going to see necessarily an increase in like resources coming into Guild Wars 2. Yeah. So that's why I think they need to really just readjust their scope and their locations that they're focusing on for these types of products, so that they can deliver a more satisfactory expansion. I'm not expecting to get products like Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire and End of Dragons. I think those days are kind of behind us. They were cooking for years,
like,
They were
it was
cooking.
Like 2 years, like
they were
half longer, like,
So I'm not expecting to get the level of that back. I just want to get to a point where we can have a year or a year and a half expansion cycle and have a good, enjoyable story.
I want to be satisfied by a good ending.
Yeah. I think that's all I'm really expecting. I think twice now they've fallen short.
With the
ending. Yeah.
They just don't seem to be able to stick the landing. And
End of Dragons was pretty flipping good. End of Dragons ending was wild. Like,
it was good.
Nuts.
Yeah.
It was pretty nuts. Like, it's kind of extravagant and like you turning you into a massive being and then like you just kill. It was quite like, it was pretty wild, like in terms of an ending. Whether or not you like it or not, like, I think people did generally, but.
And they had the pathos of saying goodbye to Aurene as well. So they had the whole like spectacular, bombastic, amazing big meta for the people who are here for the gameplay and the loot, and they had the emotional beats in the story for people who are here for the lore, and it worked really well.
I think
not perfect. Nothing is perfect.
Yeah.
It worked really well.
I think that what they are struggling with, I think for me, is since the dragons have gone, they may have an idea in there. I'm not sure if they feel like they have to produce something which is as world-endy or as impactful as a dragon-esque story that goes over time, where they have to have these big, massive, impactful moments, these big bads that coming back or introducing new ones where they're like, okay, well, that took 10 years to build up that story. Like, you know, and really before, this is so hard to do. And like thinking, like, I mean, we can just get into the politics of things more. Like we can do that stuff. Like that's okay, because you could be like the Char and the other, and two other races come together, and then we're not sure how they're feeling about things, but you know, blah blah blah. Do you know what I mean? Like these really more kind of like Andor in Star Wars. Like, you know, these guys, do you know what I mean? Like if you've not seen Andor, like it's gonna be like you haven't got the Jedis or the Sith in there. It's just regular people just doing their thing, and I'm like, and it's by
politicking.
far, yeah, politicking, rebellion, etc., and it's by far. It might be one of the best Star Wars story. Yeah, it might be the best one.
It is.
Oh, should I watch Andor?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Is it good?
Oh my god!
Story-wise,
my god!
It is just like I would see. Make sure you've seen the original Star Wars first.
Oh yeah.
But like,
check.
And even like the first three that came before that. I would say first three, and then up to like. Which one's the one with?
What is it?
Oh.
It's Rogue One, isn't it? So Rogue One. So it's some of the characters from Rogue One.
Yeah.
And it's.
Well, Rogue One starts immediately after season 2
Rogue
ends.
One is so good.
Well, that starts immediately. So you've got Andor season 2, and then you've got Rogue One starts.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's brilliant.
Is that a spoiler?
It's
that might be a tiny bit of a spoiler. But like,
timeline.
It's just a timeline. But like, it's just so well written, and I think that they could do something on par with that in terms of just pulling back down the magic and the wonder and all of the, not wonder, but like the extravagancy of these big beings to more of a homegrown. And I don't mean that. It wasn't a weird Silvari pun.
And what you mentioned earlier, Jeffro, about these expansions being like one shots. But they truly do connect.
They do.
There is always a flow, and I really think that like they should lean into that. I wouldn't mind. Actually, it'd be kind of more exciting.
I would rather
if an expansion ends on something like a cliffhanger, where you don't have this celebratory like meeting in Lion's Arch.
I agree.
It's like,
I would prefer that.
I would prefer something to cling on to, where you have like, okay, the story isn't done. So you're going to have to play the next story. I think if they can wrap up stories in about 2 expansions, hell, 3, that'd be fine, because we're getting these at a much faster pace. So I would not have minded if the gate like closed and we were just stuck in the mists in the story, and the next expansion we're like in the mists proper, like whatever that type of cliffhanger would be. That's at least something where you are wanting more and you're going to be invested. So give us cliffhangers, give us plot twists and turns that happen at the last second but don't necessarily get resolved. Lean into the fact that this is a living, breathing world that can continue in expansions. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny you said that, because that's exactly what Jebba was saying. Like the last podcast that we did, that he wanted a cliffhanger, and we were hoping that there would be a cliffhanger. I think that they're suffering from like the Dragon Ball Z.
Excellent, well done. I'm glad I said that.
Thank you. I was somehow paying attention at some points. No, I think that they're suffering from the Dragon Ball Z thing, where it always has to be a bigger boss and a bigger boss and a bigger boss and more danger. And I don't think good story does not require there to be world-shattering events happening. It can be meaningful things. It can be social. It can be personal growth. Regional conflict can be just as deadly for the characters around them.
Sure.
So it doesn't have to. They don't have to have more elder dragons.
It would be your hook into, why should I come back to the next one? It's just like, you know, when you leave a season finale, like, and you're just like, at the end of the season, you know, someone potentially may have died, but you're not sure, but because they're just like this thing hurtling towards them, anything like that. You know, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be a cliffhanger even of a major story. It could just be of a like, is this person dead? Is this thing happening? You know, we had the Eye of Janthir there before, in the which we you know, someone ended up spotting, and we were like, okay, ooh,
a little hook.
Yeah, just something. just even if it's not a cliffhanger, like it can be like a cliffhanger in terms of just like, where are we going to next, with some kind of clue that's a little bit more obvious, like even that, like a hook, more of a hook, isn't it? Yeah, like you said. But like cliffhangers are good. Like they're fine. Like, I don't care. Like if it's a yearly expansion, we don't have to wait that long. We're only waiting like 2 months.
Yeah. Or actually like a month.
It's 3 months now, technically.
But I guess in the real world perception of the story, it's like the announcement of the expansion happens right around the corner anyways.
So it's not like, but the thing is, I suppose, is that if it's a cliffhanger for us now as it comes out, cool. But it's not really a cliffhanger for the people who will play it in 5 years. Well, I mean, it still will be, because you can't just not do it because people will know spoilers in the future. I think it's still fine. I really wouldn't give a shit. Like I honestly just, if we didn't come together at the end and talk to our friends, don't care anymore. I don't really care about that. I would rather have some kind of like, oh god, like even if it was just someone died and then they were potential like pain, like something, like when Aureen like died. That
was a great clip. Like that was a great moment of like,
I still remember that.
What's gonna happen next? And and at that point we had to wait like 3 months before we knew anything. It was just like, for something like an expansion to like loop into the next one, it's like, go for it.
I almost felt cheated by that. Honestly.
Also, if it is very well done, you kind of guarantee the sale of that next expansion. If for at least the narrative people in the game, they're like, oh, I need to know what happens now. Exactly. And even like casual people, if they become invested and they see how like shocking it might be if it's well done, it's like, oh, well now I have to buy the next one. Yeah. So
to be honest, I don't think that there's anything wrong with having cliffhangers or not having cliffhangers as a person like coming into a franchise when it's really well established. I didn't hit Final Fantasy 14 until I think there was only 2 expansions to the end of like the Endbringer thing, and I loved the fact that I could play all this content, and it was like such a journey. And you can talking to people like my daughter plays Final Fantasy 14. She's like a complete lore nerd, and when I was getting to the different parts, we were geeking out and we were talking about it, and we were talking about the characters, and it feels great to be able to not wait 2 years to play an expansion. So if you're coming in as a new player to Guild Wars 2 or 14 or Elder Scrolls, it is a fantastic journey, and you get all the highs and lows, all that content. Just it's like a flood of it, and it's amazing. So I don't think that you have to worry about new people coming in and how they're going to take the bits and pieces. I don't think that is necessarily a concern. What you want is to keep your base interested. An apathetic base is the death of a game. People just not caring anymore. It's 100 times worse than people being fucking infuriated on the forums that you have broken their class. People's apathy is what destroys a game. And I like I said at the end of the last expansion, that they have to stick the landing in this one, and I'm just really worried that they haven't stuck the landing on this one again, and it's gonna do them harm. Yeah. Because I love the game, I love the developers, I want it to go on, I think it deserves to go on, and I'm just worried for them. And I feel so sad and bad, because I think the lion's share of the expansion, the first bit that we got that they released as like a complete product, was good.
Yeah.
This stuff they're tagging on the end,
which we kind of said
they're trying to like stuff it in.
Didn't we say that about Secrets of the Obscure as well?
100%.
Yeah.
And I liked the first update for Janthir Wilds, because we got Mount Balrior, we got kind of the conclusion to the Titans. I think the first update
that big,
was
like convergence thing was great.
Yeah. I thought that was great. It was only when they had to then step foot into the next beat where similar to Nyos, it's like you're stepping into another world that you haven't really given enough. And Nyos was just like, we all know what happened with Nyos, but
yeah.
I am very conscious that we have been going on for quite a long time.
Oh, sorry.
It's true.
And I want you to have the rest of your Sundays, even if you know.
Happy Father's Day!
So
happy Father's Day, Boots.
Yes, happy Father's Day,
yeah.
fathers, Boots, all the other fathers, people, parents,
puppy parents
things.
included. It's valid.
Truly.
Yeah.
Just not cat parents. Sorry, Jebro.
Oh wow.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh my god, baby.
Please fire me.
She's upset. You made such a comment. Aren't you, baby girl?
You're a fool.
She is, isn't she? She's right next to me. Just hanging.
I remember when you couldn't even touch her, and now you're having snuggles. Oh my goodness.
Wow, I mean, she doesn't have much of a choice when she's sitting next to me asleep.
She literally has no choice.
Sure she doesn't like it, but it's okay. She's not like going mental. Not mental. Oh god, I shouldn't say that.
I mean, if she didn't want to hug you, cats are all like claws and fury when they don't want something, so she must really like you. Yeah.
Oh, she's not like that with me at all, unless we go for the claw, unless we're cutting her toenails, her foot nails and all the things. Which,
oh yeah. Yeah. That's
another tale. Haha. But we can talk about the expansion as a whole maybe another time, but next time we talk, we're going to carry on with Living Well Season 2 probably, unless I'm not sure what the date of the July reveal is.
I don't know. Hopefully,
is it on the blog?
I feel like it was towards the end of the month for some reason. Why is it that I have the 24th in my head?
Let me check.
I think on the blog on the announcements that we read last week, they did mention. I think it was on the
maybe
on a roadmap.
No, they don't have a set date for it. It's to be announced.
Okay.
But there is a return to the Secrets of the Obscure, July 15th through the 29th, which is interesting.
Okay. Well,
yeah, just July.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll find out very soon. Otherwise, thank you to my guests, Fornax, Grandheld, and also Kroof. Do you, who wants to say first where they do the things and where they do them? Kroof, you can say the things.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kroof. I stream here on Twitch during the weekends, Friday through Sunday. In fact, today, to celebrate Father's Day, I will be streaming Dream Daddy, which I've never played before. The dating simulator where you can
I've actually streamed part of that.
I'm excited. I want to get a daddy. I could always add some to my list.
Is this a real thing, or are you just memeing?
Dream Daddy is a real thing.
No, it's a real thing.
Oh,
it's a real thing.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
It's a dating simulator where you can date dads. So I'm gonna try to find me a father, and you can come and watch to see if I get lucky. A little bit later today. I don't know what time. I'm gonna eat some food and then probably stream. But I also make some YouTube videos over on my YouTube at Kroof. You can find me all across the internet at Kroof. Thank you for having me. It's been lovely.
Oh yeah. And for next, that's where you do the things and where you do them. Why? No.
Why?
Where? Where?
Boredom, despair, needing to have some sort of fulfillment in my life.
Oh my god. Jesus.
Feel you. I feel you.
Oh my god. So, I'm Phonax, the Crichton Herald. I make content over on YouTube, or I used to. I haven't made any for a while. I have been really, really unwell, so but I'm feeling much better now. But yeah, so I please do check out the Crichton Herald over on YouTube and Phonax the Herald over on Blue Sky. That's my two social medias that I use. None of the others exist for me. They're all dead. And yeah, thanks for having me on the show as ever. I really love chatting with you, wonderful, beautiful peoples. It's lovely to shoot the shirt.
It has been a wonderful time indeed. I'm going to go and raid this person. Make sure you go and follow all of these people. Wonderfulness. We will be back in 2 weeks' time for, depending on if there's any news or whatever, we will be back in 2 weeks at the very least, continuing our playthrough of Living Well Season 2. And we'll get to Hearthorns maybe this year, depending on what's going on with the expansion. Probably play it probably end up getting it during the summer, I would assume. As the next expansion won't be coming out till October, so it won't be an August expansion, so we're gonna have a bit of time between, which is absolutely fine for me. Don't forget to follow, check out the Lightbringers podcast on YouTube, twitch.tv/JebbraUnity, 12 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. BST on a Sunday. That will be 2 weeks from now, which would be, damn, we are smashing through this year. It's already the 15th. The 29th of June. Damn. We will see then. Lightbringers podcast, Lightbringers GW2 podcast on Spotify. Just Google us, you'll be able to find us anywhere. Would appreciate massively a like, comment, subscribe if you can on the YouTube video. Chuck us follow on Spotify. Give us a 5-star if you can as well. That'd be lovely. And we'll see you next time. And have a fantastic day. Stuff. Happy Father's Day again. This was on Sunday, the 15th of June. Which is why we said that, just in case you're listening to that in the future.
Got a sign and date.
Goodbye.